Hello punters and what racing fans alike. Obviously, welcome to this video looking at the Stradbroke Handicap meeting up at Eagle Farm. Of course, two Group 1s for the day. The Stradbroke is obviously the main race of the whole day, and then obviously the J.J Atkins for the 2-year-olds as well. Group 1 race there, so really looking forward to that one. Really nice fields for the both of them. Very competitive fields as well. Very interesting to try and dissect those. I think there's plenty of value throughout both of those races, so we're going to be getting stuck into those later on the program. Obviously, they're sort of bookend by a couple of nice races as well in the quaddy legs, and there's a few good races early in the card as well with a couple of nice types going around. So hope we can find plenty of winners tomorrow at Eagle Farm. And if you're tuning into this video, obviously, if you're new around here, haven't seen, please give me a subscribe, a like. Obviously, leave your comments down below with your thoughts out of tomorrow. Love creating the discussion. And apologies for not uploading a review video during the week. I was a little bit busy, so I will try and, I guess, get back to those weekly uploads from here on out. So I should be able to get that done, and I'll definitely be getting it done for this Stradbroke meeting and the meeting at Flemington and Randwick, which those previews are still to come. So stay tuned for those. Once you finish this video, go and click on to those if you're planning on having a bet there tomorrow, or if you just want to have a look out of interest as well. Obviously, in these videos, if you're new, I just sort of look through each race meet. I break it down, look through the form, give you a top 4 selections, but then I'll also give you anything that I do think is a bit of a chance at perhaps odds or the like. So I'll give you the, I guess, information on all the key runners. So if you're out there, you're thinking that you've done your form and there's certain runners that you like, you can sort of take off a little bit of my feedback on each of them into, I guess, your bets tomorrow, so you can have a bit of an idea on what I think you shouldn't play on, but then also ultimately it is up to your decision. So anyway, we'll get stuck straight into the meeting tomorrow at Eagle Farm. The first is getting underway at 11:10. So very early start tomorrow, as we always like. I personally enjoy it. I like having the races as a nice early start to the day. So first race on the card is a 2,200 metre Ascot Green benchmark 80 handicap. Nice competitive field for the 2,200 metre race here. Look at the speed map. I'd say Quality Seeker will probably find the top. With Speeding Bad probably looking to get alongside of it, or perhaps box seating in behind. Goltero usually likes to get forward, and it's that horse coming out of barrier number 7, so I'd suggest it'll want to slide across and get in a prominent role. And Winkler and So Dapper usually like to be quite prominent as well, so could be a little bit of a charge for the speed, but I'd say Quality Seeker and Goltero will pair off and be the 2 leaders of the race. Look, this was a tough race for this one for me, because there was quite a few factors to come into play here. Obviously, playing on a good forward track tomorrow, fine conditions. So for me, look, I am pretty keen on So Dapper here. I thought this horse came to the line nicely last start. I was on it last time out. Finished third behind Red Steno, who I give goes round later on in the card, and I won't give too much away, but I am relatively keen on it. So I think that's going to be good enough form. So I think So Dapper will appreciate the step up in distance. Has never been to the 2,000 plus before, so a bit of an unknown there. But the way that the horse got through the line last start over the 800 metres, I'd suggest that this horse should be able to deal with it quite fine. And it is a horse that comes from last start at finished third. Prior to that, just only had average form, so it was a bit of a turnaround in form for this horse last start, and it ran well. So I think it's a horse that's just going to continue to get better as it steps out in distance. So that horse paying $5. It's my on top selection, 4th up, Rock Hard Fit now. In for second, number 1, Quality Seeker, who's going to be up the front, controlling and dictating the terms. And this horse is excellent at Eagle Farm. It's had 2 starts at the track for 2 wins, so that's obviously a massive tick. It gets around this track pretty nicely and is 100% a firm ground goer. You don't often see this horse go on the wet tracks. It's often scratch for it. So, and the difference with this horse is that it has run over the 2,200 over its last 5 starts. So it's a horse that is well equipped to this type of distance range, and I think it'll be quite hard to beat. The weight's a little bit of a concern, although Justin Hustle's 2 kilo claim brings it down to 59.5, so a little bit more easy to carry. That horse will be leading and it'll be up front for a long way. I'd suggest it'll be definitely in the top 3. If a third, number 3, Seen Too Many, who continues to just get closer and closer. It obviously won 2 starts back, and last start finished a narrow second to Advanced Warning, who it meets here again. That was on a heavy track. This now comes onto a firmer surface, which I think plays into the hands more of Seen Too Many, who seems to be a bit more of a bit stronger on a firmer track. So think Seen Too Many can get the better of Advanced Warning this time round, so I'm going to have it in for third, and in for fourth is number 2, Advanced Warning, who obviously is racing in some decent enough form, especially the last 2 starts have been quite solid. Really relished that step up 2,200 metres last start, but obviously got that wet track. Now comes back to a firmer surface. It has won 3 times on a good track, but from 13, it doesn't necessarily win out of turn. It's not as strong as it is on a wet track, so just that little bit of a query there. But looks a couple of other decent chances in the racing. Stardome is getting closer to a win. It's had 2/3 in a row now, the last 2 starts, and gets that step up in distance as well. And the horse hasn't been beyond 2,000 either. So the 2 times it did go up to 1,900 at it was a Canterbury both starts. This horse obviously didn't really run too well over the distance, so there is that bit of a query about it, and that's why I haven't put it in my on top selections. But it does have a bit of a chance in the race. But look, I'm pretty keen on the top 4. I think the market's got it spot on here, but I think So Dapper is the one that can win this race ahead of number 1 Quality Seeker. Like I said, will be leading for a long way. It'd be hard to chase down. In for third, number 3, Seen Too Many, and in for fourth, I've got number 2, Advanced Warning. Moving on now into race number 2 on the program at 11:45, 1,400 meter race, benchmark 90 handicap. Looks pretty easy speed medal. I think Red Chase and Sox are going to be the 2 leaders, and the rest of them will sort of battle out for positions in behind. I'd say Prometheus might sort of get in behind those, and the Kingdom might actually push up from the inside barrier and get close enough towards the speed. This is a nice race here, and I do think Red Chase is going to be hard to beat. It has to carry a little bit of weight with the 60 kilos this time around, but this horse is in great form, three on the bounce, and the format of him been quite good. This horse obviously ran down Thy Kingdom Come, who I was very keen on to start 2 weeks ago at Eagle Farm, and I thought it was a real impressive performance by Red Chase to do what it did. It really did knuckle down to the task, because Thy Kingdom Come really did kick away and gave Red Chase something to chase, and this horse 100% did, and it ran it down nicely. So I think this horse can win again. It's in great form. $3 is a nice price. So I've got it on top ahead of number 3, Reckless Choice, who I think can improve big time second up here. It was a pretty good run in that Red Chase race. It actually came from a long way back in the race. Now, it doesn't look to be a strong tempo, but there's only a 6-horse field, so this horse could easily come over the top of him for Boris Thornton. So $5.50, good price about it. Got it in for second. In the third, number 4, Stoxagon, who's returned really well since the spell, won 2 good races at the Gold Coast. I think the last up performance beating Thine as the Power is a decent one. The form has been quite nice, and even the one before that, Maslow's not a bad type little horse either. So this is a horse that's been around some good form. You look back last preparation, it's got form around Snitz and Vega 1, so real proper group form there from for around Stoxagon. So this horse will be quite hard to beat. Just think it's a little bit short in the market personally at 220, so I've got it in for second. In for third. And then in for fourth, number 5, The Kingdom, who I think will get a nice cushy box seat run from the inside barrier if that's what they choose to do. This horse also won really well last start on a heavy track at the Gold Coast. It's a horse that really has been quite consistent over all distance ranges. And the interesting thing about this horse is that 5 starts at Eagle Farm for 4 wins. So loves Eagle Farm, and it is paying $9. This could be the real knockout horse here if it gets the running out of that inside box seat thing, which I'm hoping for, I guess, anyone who wants to follow me in and be on Red Chase. I hope Taylor Marshall just drops that ankle a little bit and holds them up, and same as Stocks have gone, and they don't allow the Kingdom to get out, because if the Kingdom can get out, it could definitely run over the top of them at the $9. So it looks a good chance at the $9. So really good race here. I've gotten the one Red Chase, though. I was just impressed with the way it hit the line last time, beat Thy Kingdom Come, and they gapped the rest of them, besides, obviously, Reckless Choice and the horse came third in that race there. So those 4 kind of split off, and the rest of them tailed off, and I thought that was a good effort, and I think it can win again here. So I've got it on top ahead of number 3, Reckless Choice, who's going to be much better for that last start performance. It comes into this second up, so expect to see some improvement from it. Just a little bit of a concern on how much tempo is going to be in the race as to whether it can run down Red Chase. But I've got it in for second. In for third, the favourite, number 4, Soxagon, who I just think is a bit short. It has the elite form lines. And then in for fourth, number 5, Thy Kingdom, who I think is a very good chance of the big odds as well. So they're definitely the 4 that you want to be having in race number 2. Moving to race number 3, 1,200 metre benchmark 75 race, the Mullins Lawyers Handicap. With a speed map for this race here, I'd suggest to be a bit of pace in this one. Heritage Sash will find the top, I think. from barrier number 11. Pinnacle Star will be up towards the speed from the inside barrier. Pure Pulse, I Dream of Green, will be up there. I'd say that King of Desert and Captivator, they've got those tricky outside barriers. There's a lot of speed drawn inside of them, so interesting if they press forward and try and get a prominent roll. I'd suggest they might, and they might be posted a bit deep there. But look, I'm very keen on Stylish Saga here. For me, it's one of the best value bets of the program at $7. This horse was excellent last time. If you get the chance, go back and have a look at its replay. I obviously really did mention out of that run that behind Plenty last start, but this is the horse he wanted to follow strongly out of that race, because the way that it came from way back in the field, hit the line very strongly, it went past him through the line as well, not a couple of strides later. So this horse was motoring. Comes in this third up now. Has been a little bit costly for punters. Obviously, first up was $1.60, got rolled on that occasion, finished fourth behind the tenner. The tenner since come out and run really well, so the form has been good out of that race. It gets that weight swing on Plenty and also Totally Charmed from the last start performance. And obviously, I was on Totally Charmed and was keen on Plenty in that last start performance. I am swinging towards Stylish Saga. I think the weight's in its favour. The race looks to set up perfectly for it from that outside barrier. Third up, it's going to be hard to beat, so I've got it on top. Ahead of number 7, Totally Charmed, who I think can be off the leaders, be the one that'll be still rolling towards the end. This horse did come from midfield last time out and hit the line well and was just narrowly beaten by Plenty on the line. I was absolutely devastated because I got this horse really early doors at $9. It got crunched into $4.50 and almost pulled off the plunge. Now, it's a horse that's a very consistent type, and $6.20 the place is a good price about it. So I've got it in for second. In for third, coming out of that similar form line, I think Plenty can still run well again. Has hit a bit of form since joining the Stuart Kendrick yard, and has now had 2 wins on the bounce. So we've always known this horse had some ability. It's just the fact of it, putting it together and getting, I guess, the confidence instilled into him, and now he has got it. Who knows what he could be? He does have that, obviously, that weight swing now, as I mentioned previously, with Totally Charmed and also Stylish Saga, which is why I've put him in for third. But he's got a good chance at $9 as well. Obviously, Pinnacle Star will get a good run off that barrier number 1 at the $3. Just not 100% sure around its form. It comes in this second up. I think it'll be well on the finish. I just thought, like I said, there's a couple of these I can make a bit more of a mention of because they're at the bigger odds. But look, you can definitely play Pinnacle Star at the $3. I don't think that's a bad price. I think it's pretty fair. It's a horse that has only missed a placing once in its 9 race starts so far in its career. So if you're looking around it, obviously there's going to be plenty of good promos around with all the bookmakers. So if you can, I guess, find one where it's a first, second, or third, you should be right with that. I'd suggest that you won't have too much worries if you put something on the win. I'd suggest he'll be in the finish somewhere. But like I said, I am keen to look at a bit of value in this race because I think there is a lot on offer. But number 16, Stylish Saga, is the one to beat for me. I think this horse was excellent last start. I think it can improve and get its much-deserved win here, third up. In for second, I've got number 7, Totally Charmed. In for third, number 5, Plenty. And in for fourth, number 2, Pinnacle Star. Moving on to race number 4 on the program now, and it's the Thank You BRC Members Class 6 plate. Over the 1,850 metres. Look at the speed map for this race here. Not a whole lot of pace in this one on paper. I don't suggest that. I think Pick a Plum will find the top. Partnership will probably drop in behind. I think Cedar Power will go and be up on the pace as well. And then it's a bit of an unknown into how many of the rest of these will want to press a bit forward. I'd suggest that maybe some of those inside barrier horses, like Red Steiner from barrier number 4, might want to push on and try and get that sort of the one pair back, and obviously with the cover. So the one out, one back, as they put it in harness racing terms, is what I'm talking about. Gresham might usually likes to drop back in its races. Mangio might get up there. So a little bit of a query into what else will go forward, but not a whole lot of pace on paper. So some of these strong chances in the market won't want to get too far back, but I don't think Red Steiner will. And I think bottom of the weights here was, like I mentioned, I think the form line's good. Beat Cedar Power last time out. It's in really good nick. It hasn't missed a top 4 finish in the last 5 starts. So horse that's in form, bottom weights, Stephanie Thornton in the saddle. And like I mentioned earlier, in race number 1, just for me, I've got that. I think that form of that race is going to be quite good. And if obviously we get the horse in the first race, which was just going back to it, which was So Dapper, obviously we'll get a bit of an indication onto the form for Red Steiner. So I'd suggest that there might be a bit of a move for Red Steiner if obviously So Dapper wins in race number 1. So I've got Red Steiner on top for me. If a second, number 11, Magione, who I think's got a good chance here, comes into it third up, and Comes on a firmer track. It's obviously also it's a little bit better on the softer conditions, but I did think the last start was really good behind Spirit Ridge on the Kenzo track at Randwick, and comes here now to this track, and it steps up to a distance that it has missed a placing at from 5 attempts. So I like the step up from the 1550 up to the 1800. I think this horse will improve massively. Ryan Malay in the saddle 950 is a very good price, so I'm going to have him for second. In for third, number 8, Cedar Power. Got to give it a chance. Obviously finished second to Red Steen the last time out, so I think if Red Steen's going to be up there, this horse, Cedar Power, will be up there as well. So got it in for third. Then in for fourth, number 2, Gresham, who was a really good winner last time out. We know this horse has got a little bit of form, a little bit of ability on his day, and he showcased that last time out at the Gold Coast. Beat the Milkman. He came from last. That was a real sweeping and impressive win there. So I think that if it can, reproduce that type of win, it could go pretty close here. So I've got it in fourth. I think there are the main chances. I'm interested in Partnership first up here. I think this is also $26 for me. Barrier number 1. Not a lot of pace in the race. I hope that they decide to press forward and get prominent in the race, because last time this horse did, get forward towards the pace, it did win a race at Ballon. And obviously this is a big step up in grade for a horse like this, but the fact that it is out of Tavistock and comes out to, it is side by Tavistock and out of a New Zealand mare in Harmony. I think it's bred to get the distance, and we did see that last preparation when it did win over 2400. So 1800 metres first up is an interesting kickoff point, and I think that it could perhaps run a decent enough race, the big odds from that good barrier draw. But look, I'm pretty keen on number 14, Red Steiner on top. Ahead of number 11, Magione in for second. In for third, I've got number 8, Seat of Power, and in for fourth, number 2, Gresham. Moving on into race number 5 on the program now, over the 1,000 metres. It's a benchmark 85, the Tab Allen Shuck Handicap. Looking at the speed map here, and as we do expect on a 1,000 metre race, there's plenty of tempo in the race. So Jamie Lady off the inside barrier will press forward. Then it's really a bit of a pick onto what else will be pressing forward as well. I mean, Spirit's Choice and Hard Striving barriers 11 and 12, they like to get forward. Piracy usually is close enough to speed. Royal Witness usually likes to be up there. Ozark might get forward from barrier number 4. So real interesting speed battle earlier on in this race, and always is in the 1,000 metre races. And look, as such, I do think Jamie Layoff inside barrier obviously does have that advantage of being on the inside, and has the good first up form. I have looked past it because I think 270 is a little bit short, and I've gone for number 16, Calic, who at the moment doesn't have a jockey, which obviously we'll have to wait and see if it gets into the race or not. But I'm hoping that it does run, because it's a horse that does go pretty well fresh, has had the win from 2 goes, and I liked its recent trial leading into this race here. And I just think that from that barrier number 8, it could get a really good run in the race, because there's a couple outside of it that I think will push forward and get in front of it. Could be able to be in that sort of one pair back, and just with that bit of cover, and be able to sweep wide and finish over the top of them off the hot tempo. So I think Kelly can go on top for me, ahead of number 6, Jamie Lady, who, as I said, gets that advantage, that inside barrier. Boris Thornton should probably be quite positive and get up and make those outside horses work to get around it. But this horse goes well, pretty well fresh as well. 3 starts first up for 2 wins, and goes well as one here at the track before as well. So that's a good positive for this horse. So I've got it in for second. In for third, number 1, Ozark, I think can improve third up here. Comes off a second last time out to Uzmanov at the Gold Coast. So I think that's could run pretty well here third up, and obviously is much fitter now. Drops down in class, comes from a heavy track back onto a firmer surface. Definitely is a horse that's way better on a firmer track. So with Justin Huxtable in the saddle, brings it down to the 59 kilos with the 2 kilo claim. I think this horse has a nice chance at the big odds, so I'm going to have it in for third, but could definitely, get some of you guys to back it, because I think that it's well worth the odds. And the other one who I think is not bad at the odds either is number 2, Akazaki, who comes in this off first up, 5th at behind Adelong. I think that's some good form. I think that's a nice form race. Obviously, Adelong since come out and won, so again, so the form is pretty good around Adelong, and Akasaki comes out of that type of form line and comes in this second up, back onto a firmer surface off soft track. I think we could see a good performance from it. So look, I am keen on Calic on top, and then I've got Jamie Lady for second. But I do think that the 1 and 2 horses here do have a good chance at odds. So they'll be the ones that I'd be perhaps looking to have a play at betting-wise. I'd probably look at Calic for the win, and then obviously 220 is still a good price for the play. So I think this horse will go well fresh. But I am very, very interested in those top 2 horses at the top of the page in numbers 1 and 2. Other horses in the race have a bit of a chance. Look, I do think that High Fiver has been in good form and probably doesn't warrant to be $12 here. Obviously, has a bit of a tricky barrier from there, but it did drop back. It has been dropping back in its races, and the hot tempo might be able to allow this horse to come into it and beat Kanunga last time out. So he's not too bad a horse either. So I think High Fiver perhaps been forgotten about a bit in the market here at the $12. So it's another one you could probably look at from an each way point. And I didn't put Spirit's Choice in because. Look, it is a horse that it only goes okay fresh, and that's why I was a bit surprised that it was 440 in the market. Obviously, it has been pretty well backed, but I just think it's a little bit short. So, recap the numbers for me. Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty keen on number 16, Kalik, ahead of number 6, Jamie Layden, in for second, in for third, number 1, Ozark, and in for fourth, number 2, Akazaki, who I think are great each way chances. So moving on now into the first of the feature races of the day of the program at Eagle Farm. The first group, the Group 3 Racing Rough Habit, played over 2,200 metres for the 3-year-olds. Good race here. Look at the speed map. So Navy Cross and Supergiant will be the 2 leaders from barriers number 4 and number 11. And I'd say Neptune's Choice might get up there. Probably won't contest for the speed. Mashani Secret might be close enough as well. And Maricopa, I don't think. But I think that Navy Cross and Supergiant will be the 2 that pair out and find the front. And I think that Supergiant has to be hard to beat here. I can't really understand why there's that, such a that Ballistic Boy is shorter than Supergiant, because I mean Supergiant beat it fair and square last time out. Obviously, it does step up a distance here. Obviously, they go from the 800 up to the 2,000 meters, which is that little bit of a concern. But this horse has got really good form. I think I mentioned it last start when obviously Supergiant came out won at the big odds. That had the form second of Vanagirl. Vanagirl obviously came out last week and won again. So Supergiant's got some good form around it. And again, it's going to be leading with Navy Cross, who comes up to this type of grade for the first time. And it's a little bit of a query. Has a lot of ability, that horse, the expensive yearling. But Supergiant for me just has to be on top because, like I said, it got the job done. I only just narrowly held on for Ballistic Boy. And a lot of people do look into the fact that when that horse comes charging home and just misses, you go, oh, next start it'll beat it. But not always the case. And I just think with the speed map here, Supergiant will get an easy enough time in the lead and should be able to go all the way again. It's a horse that's only having its 6th race career start, so he's stepping up to 2,000 metres quite early in his career. But the way that he's been winning recently, I'd suggest that he will win this again. So I've got him on top ahead of number 1, Ballistic Boy, who I think they will be the 2 again. Obviously, this horse was excellent last start and finished second. Is a horse that we know will probably get better coming out of this distance range, but I'm just not sure why it is necessarily warranted the favourite over Supergiant when you look at the weights. Obviously, Ballistic Boy goes from 57, stays at 57, and Supergiant also is staying at 57. So there's no swing in the weights. It's just that simple fact of it that Ballistic Boy hit the line well last start, and all of a sudden everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's going to get the better of Supergiant this time. Now it might do, but I just think 280. Not sure there should be that big of a difference between them in the market, so that goes in for second. I have a third, number 4, Navy Cross, who I do think has got a lot of ability. Only just anyone who backed it last time out was almost a certainty up there at the Sunshine Coast. Was back from $1.90 to $1.40, and I only just got the job done against Neptune's Choice, but I think that still think the form round's pretty good. It beat a horse 2 starts back at Canterbury called Stellar Impact, who then came out and mopped its opposition at Cranbourne in an impressive win over the 2,000 metres. So Navy Cross has some good form around it, and it obviously has a lot of ability. Gaywwater, Sage, and Bot are absolute experts in getting their horses right for these type of distance races, especially as the 3-year-olds. So you've got to respect that the yard and obviously the trainers, and they're in terrific form at the moment. And Ryan Melody's in the saddle, and it's going to be up on pace with not a lot of tempo. So again, it's a horse that can run well. It's just coming up to this type of level and grade for the first time, which is that little bit of a query. So I've got in for third. Then in for fourth, number 15, Mashani Secret, who I think can run well. It finished third to Wapiti last night. So again, big step up in class for this horse. But it's a horse that has been exposed to 2,200 before and has won once and had a placing at this distance range. It's right down the bottom of the weight to the 55. James Innes Jr. in the saddle obviously gets to ride Dawn Passage in the Group 1 Stradbroke. So he's got a big day ahead of him, and I think he could get a good run out of Mashani Secret here. I think's got a good chance down the bottom of the weights. So that goes in for fourth. Other chances in the race look, like I said, Neptune's Choice has to be mentioned. It's $19 and Navy Cross is $6.50, and only got beaten by 0.2 of a length last time out. Neptune's Choice, it was coming home strong and hit the line well. So perhaps I don't think it should be that big of a discrepancy in the market between the two. So bit of overs about Neptune's Choice there. You could definitely have a crack at it. And the other horse I think could be a bit of a chance is Maricopa, who has Jim Byrne in the saddle. And again, is also having its sixth race start. It seems to just be getting better and better. Its last two wins have been impressive, and it is bred to get over this distance range, being obviously side by Sacred Falls and coming out of a New Zealand mare and Veneta, who so it is bred to run this type of distance range. So an interesting horse there for Chris Waller, who also is paying good odds. So look, very good race. So I am keen to stick though with the strong form, and I've got number 3 Super Giant on top, ahead of number 1 Ballistic Boy in for second. In for third, number 4 Navy Cross. In for fourth, I've got number 15 Mashani Secret. Moving on into the first Group 1 race of the day, and it is, of course, the 2-year-old J.J Atkins race over the 1400 metres. Looking forward to this. It's a very strong race, as it always is, and there's always some good 2-year-olds that come out of this field, so really looking forward to it. And look at the speed map here. There's quite a lot of pace, not a whole lot of surprise with that. I'd suggest that Isotope and Star Rossa will be the two that'll be up there towards the speed. Wild Ruler won't be too far off. I think Isotope will probably push forward and get up towards the speed as well. Be interested to see what the inside horses do. Obviously, Makura is one of the main chances in the market, and super rare. Whether they'll be wanting to get forward, because there's a couple that are sort of drawn in between those and the lead horses that I've said that could perhaps push forward. Wisdom of Water is another one who might get up there as well. So look, really interesting race. And look, I've gone with number 4, Not an Option here for the Freedman team. Obviously, Richard and Michael. It's a horse that obviously was initially a horse that's come across from New Zealand and racing some real top line races. I mean, you have a look. We finished third first up on Doubtland, and then finished sixth behind King's Legacy, of course, in the Champagne Stakes. So that was a Group 1 at Group 1 level. So this horse has been exposed to this type of top level racing, and paying $12, just think it's well over the odds. And the 2 trials leading to this have been real sharp. I've been very impressed with those. So I think this horse could run well here. I think the fact that the New Zealand owners decided to, I guess, give this horse and keep it in Australia for this type of racing suggests that they do think this horse could run well and take out a race like this. So I really would look a fair bit into that. And I think it can win this race here with Michael Cale in the saddle, who, of course, had a terrific Queensland Carnival last year. So he obviously will be looking to do the same thing again and win another Group 1. So he goes on top for me. Number 4, Not an Option. Even second, number 1, Rothfire, who's just the elite Eagle Farm horse. He's had 4 starts at the track for 4 wins. He's in great form. He was good last time out, beating Isotope there. He was very sharp, very solid. Nothing really made ground him. Might have to work a little bit from barrier number 14. That's my only little query on him, but he'll be right in the finish. I think he'll be hard to beat as well. So he goes in for second. In for third in this field, I think that Wisdom of Water, who it's interesting because the last 2 starts I've been against it. Just think it's been too short, but you've got to respect what it's been doing to its opposition in its 2 runs thus far. Obviously, a combined winning rate of over 8 lengths in 2 runs. So this horse has been doing the job, and as such, you've got to give that little bit of respect. And so it goes in for third for me. It's obviously a big step up in class. These horses are a lot better than what it's faced previously, but this horse that is in form, and sometimes that's just what you want. And Wisdom of Water, I think we'll get a good run from that barrier number 10 as well. So it goes in for third. And in for fourth, I think number 8, Safiano. I was disappointed with this horse last start behind Wisdom of Water. I did have it on top, and it did disappoint me there. But prior to that, it was really good being Formentera and Ocean, and then finished 5th, Ocean Emperor. So I think this horse could bounce back off of that, and the $31 is just a little bit over the odds. Other chance in the race, Wild Ruler. Now, look, I might be talking through my pocket. It has a good chance again, but I just don't see how it can turn the tables on Rothfire from last start. I thought that Rothfire definitely had its measure, so it had every opportunity to run him down, and he couldn't, and he has barrier 15. So for me, $13 is probably the fair price about Wild Ruler. And look, the other horse that I do think is one that you probably don't want to sleep on too much is obviously Makura, who's right down the weights. I haven't put it in because I think it's a very tricky draw from barrier number 2. Because this horse generally likes to settle midfield. Now, in its first 2 career race starts, in all fairness, it did get towards the pace. So I think that's probably what they'll try and do, and make those outside horses work a bit like with the likes of Rothfire, and might just sit in behind them, get that perfect run of the race. So look, she could be pretty hard to beat. She's obviously 3 from 3. I just thought, like I said, say a little bit of a query about her, and it really is an open race. So you could really go with any of those. Thunder Mania is another one who I'm excited about at $26. I've been on him for his last 2 starts. I've jumped off him today, but he's in good form and he had a good trial leading to this one as well. But look, not an options one for me. I think it's got the quality in this race to win, and it has the 12 at $12. And the fact that Richard Mike Freed about to take this horse on suggests that they wanted to keep this horse here in Australia to try and win one of these 2-year-old races. So I'm really keen on it on top. I have number 1, Rothfire, who, as I said, is the Eagle Farm horse, is terrific on the track and has to be respected. Goes in for second. In for third, number 3, Wisdom of Water. And then in for fourth, I've got at a bit of odds, number 8, Safiano. Moving on to race number 8 on the program now. This is the big race of the day. It is the Group 1 Stradbroke over the 1400 metres. A massive field and a terrific race, as it always is. We've seen plenty of fantastic winners come out of this race. And so getting into it, look at the speed map. So Bam's on fire and Baccarat Baby will be up there. Interesting to see if Baccarat Baby does get the run, though, at this stage. This stage it is, actually. So, but we will see. Obviously, there could be a couple of scratchings between now and then with some of these substitute runners down the bottom of the page. But the other horses in the race, Chief Ironside probably get forward. Deep Image will get towards the pace. Now, Dawn Passage, interesting one, who usually likes to be up on the speed, but I just don't know if it's going to be able to do so from that outside barrier. It might be able to get across if James Ennis is really aggressive on her and gets right up there. But massive career from that outside barrier. It is a horse, though, where she has won from back in the field before, where she's come from last. So she can do it both ways, so you got to respect that about her. So she does have a chance. Sorry about him. Sorry, I was thinking of another horse there. So sorry about him. Dawn Passage, obviously he's been in great form. But look, Winter Bride's probably the other one, and Vega 1 might be up towards the pace as well. Look, this is a controversial pick. I've gone with Kematara. I'm giving him one more chance because for me, this is the race that he can win. He's at $17. He's been pretty underwhelming, but you've got to look beyond just what it says on paper. And a lot of punters have been burnt by him, and that's why he's going to be at this price now, because they probably just feel, nah, can't do it anymore. But this will be the race he'll win. Just watch. Like, it always happens. He comes out at $17 here. He's going to probably get a real good run in the race of barrier number 10. I think he's going to get the perfect run. Just hoping he just jumps out better. That's been his only issue in his last couple of starts. He's been missing the start and been a bit tardy out of the gate. So if he does that again, it'll be very hard to win in a field like this. But look, he has the ability. We know he does. He's a Group 1 horse, and at his best, he can really give these a shake. He finished third to Brave Smash and a Manicato at Mooney Valley in 2018. He obviously finished second to Manuel, first up at Caulfield last preparation. Then he went in as a favourite and finished 7th to Trapeze Artist. So, look, at his best, he can win, and he is rock hard fit now. He's had 4 runs coming in, gets his 5th run here, just gets the perfect run of the race. Ryan Maloney in the saddle. I think $17 just a bit over the odds. So, he goes on top for me ahead of another horse I think I have been a big follower of, and I did say that I was going to jump off him, but when I saw he come out at the $23, I think I've got to give him a mention again, and it is Graf. Again, another horse that at his top ability, which I know that he's not at anymore, well, at least potentially. We could see it happen on Saturday, but so far from his first 2 runs, his preparation, he's been a little bit underwhelming compared to the form that we know he was capable of. I mean, he's a horse that finished, looking back last preparation, a length behind Red Cell. Obviously, one of the star sprinters of this decade. Pirata, he finished a length off of him. Again, one of the top sprinters this last sort of 4 to 5 years as well. Brutal, who he finished 4th behind, only just under 3 lengths. So he's been around some real top, proper Group 1 form, and I just think that he's got that run in him, and he's got a tricky barrier from get number 2, but just being that $23, about a Group 1 horse, he is one that he could go each way, and I guess take him a bit of confidence. So he goes in for second for me. In for third, number 1, Trekking. He's got all the talent in the world. He's one of the best sprinters in the country now that a couple of these top liners have retired. He is one of the best now, and he was excellent winning the Goodwood last start under a superb ride by John Allen. And Mike Carroll jumps in the saddle. This horse has to jump from barrier number 22, which is a real big concern about this horse. But look, James Cummings is very confident on his chances. As am I. I think he's got a good chance. He obviously won this race last year. He comes back again. I think he'll run really well. He does obviously have good form on the track for 2 wins and 2 starts for a win and a placing. So he can run well. Just that bit of a concern from that outside barrier for me. And then in for fourth, I've gone with Hightail because I just think that he's in such good form at the moment that he can run well again. I've been massive raps about the form around him. The form has just continued to produce subsequent winners. So he comes in his third up. He's faced his toughest test, but he has 50 kilos on his back. He's really lightweight. He's going to get a good run from that barrier draw with all the pace on in the race that it seems like on paper. I think he can run well, so I've got him in for fourth. Look, Exhilarates, I've jumped off her this time. She was enormous last week against Dawn Passage. Obviously, she was motoring home there, and I think that she can get the better of Dawn Passage, especially with the barrier draws. It's a little bit tricky for her from barrier number 4 because she likes to get back in her runs. But look, Taylor Marshall, big story, be massive for her if she can win. And obviously with James Cummings, there's that connection there where obviously James's grandfather, Barty, obviously won this race with Taylor's grandfather as well. So there's some real nice. Sorry, not her grandfather, the father, her father. Obviously, I'll get that out eventually. Her father. So look, Exhilarates has a chance. Other chances in the race that I think can run a good race. I think Vega 1 didn't put Vega 1 in, but this is a horse you got to remember that went round last start where it was beaten by Victorium in the BRC Sprint. As the favourite on that occasion. So the fact that it's $16 this time, you could suggest that it maybe bounce back to form. Obviously, comes just didn't run up to scratch last time out, and I think from that barrier draw might get a better run in the race and run much better. Victorium, obviously, he was excellent return to form last start and was very impressed with his win. He can do it again. He's at $8. Is a nice price. He's obviously well proven here, and he's well proven over the distance, so he can run well as well. He's another good chance in the race. And one of what I thought was just massive monster odds was Baccarat Baby, who's a consistent horse, hasn't missed a place in this preparation. And they have been obviously open handicaps and listed races. But this is a horse you look back to last preparation, finished 5th during the Spring Carnival behind Melody Bell. Now, it was a long way behind her. That was in a Group 1. Finished 3 lengths off Savatiano at Caulfield in a Group 2. Prior to that, it beat Deploy in an open handicap race at Eagle Farm. So Baccarat Baby's definitely got the ability to win a race like this. So $51 is just a bit over the odds about it. But look, recap the numbers for me. I am keen on Kementari. I think he can get the job done today, and I'm hoping that he does. Ahead of number 10, Graph in for second. For third, number 1, Trekking. And then for fourth, I've got number 17, Exhilarates. But very wide open race. And wouldn't surprise me if any of these win. Crack Me Up was another one who I thought perhaps has warranted a bit of a chance here. I thought its fourth first up was excellent behind Snitz. Tie Zone was good last time out, just has been drawn a bit of a tricky gate. But look, terrific race, but that's why I've gone with Kementari and Graffers. They're probably my two horses that I'll have a play at, because I do think they're at their best, which I don't think they're up to at the moment, but if they're sort of 90% to their best, and from those barrier draws, I think they'll get a real good chance in the race, and I think they could potentially win the race as well. So moving on to the last race of the card, it is race number 9, 1,000 metre race for the Naturf Mick Dittman plate. Look at the speed map for this race here. Interesting that a horse that I've got on top earlier in the program, Calic. Now, if Calic goes into this race, which it has got a jockey name for this, so I suggest this will be the one that it targets. I will be obviously changing my numbers in race number 3, so just be wary of that. If Calic gets scratched from that race there in race number 3, I will be changing my numbers round. Sorry, not race number 3. It was race number 4. Race number 4. No. Hang on a second. Race number 2. Race number 5. Race number 5 it was. So, sorry, my mistake there. So, in race number 5, if Calic obviously gets scratched out of that race there, which it does look like it can do, I'll be probably, while Jamie later be on my top selection, I'll probably be more keen to play at number 1 and 2 each way. So, that'll probably be my 2 on top picks in that race there. So, moving back to race number 9 on the program, and look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that there'll be a fair bit of pace to be expected in a 1,000 metre race. I'd say Nidorp and Sugar Boom will find the top. Calic will be up there though, with Bold Style and Swan Island as well. And so interesting little speed battle. Now interested because Calic, obviously, like I said, I give it a real good chance earlier on the program where it was obviously much stronger in the market. It comes into this race which is tougher at the $18, so I will be interested there, and I probably will have a play if that's what they decide to go with this race, because it's just that little bit of confidence to take into a race that I think is much more difficult. But look, I do think Aquitana is going to be hard to beat. It was a good second first up behind Fatuse. Obviously, that's very good form, as we know. Comes in this second up, it's going to be much improved there. Larry Cassian in the saddle gets a great draw. I think it's going to get the perfect run of the race. So it goes on top for me, ahead of Nidorp, who finished 4th last start. Was a little bit disappointed behind Love You Lucy, but albeit was obviously set up for the back marks there. Garibaldi beat for the start prior. So this horse is obviously really good on its day, but the Northcliffe and Golan combination at the moment has been lethal. They've been getting plenty of winners, so that horse goes in for second. In for third, like I said, Calic. I think if it goes in this race, that's a bold statement and it has a bit of a chance. So I've got it in for third. Then in for fourth, number one, Ruko, who comes off a sixth last night behind Hightail. So big drop down in class here. Could run well at the $11. So recap the numbers. I've got Aquitana on top, ahead of number five, Needorp. In for second, in for third, number three, Calic. And in for fourth, number one, Ruka. Now moving on to my best bets and best value bets of the program. So my best bet on the program comes in race number 9, the final event. I think number 7, Aquitana, is going to be really hard to beat. Second up here. So I think it can get punters out of a bit of a tricky hole, which if they are stuck in, obviously can get up on in that last race there. And I think it'll be really hard to beat. The other horse that I think is going to be hard to beat, it comes in race number 4, and it's number 14, Red Stina, who I think it was well placed in that race there. So that horse is paying $2.60, and obviously Aquitana the last race at $2.80. So sorry, there's not too much value on those best bets, but best value bets comes in race number 3. I do think that Stylish Saga will be hard to beat the $7. That's race number 3, number 16, Stylish Saga. And then the other one that I like at decent odds comes in the J.J. Atkins, and it is number 4, Not An